Welcome to the Horrorcraft Podcast.
Hello, horror fans. It's me, Cass,
Kylie.
and you are in episode, I think it's 8 at this point, of Horrorcraft
Mhm.
Reviews. We are going to be talking about an absolute banger. And I know we say this a lot, but this movie truly had my jaw on the floor the whole time.
Another
Um,
on the floor. We're cutting to the chase because that's what this movie does. Cuts to the fucking chase and gets right into the shit.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's
Most
just
importantly, most importantly, we have found footage horror royalty in this movie. You hear me? You hear me? We have Sean Rogerson from Grave Encounters. We have Lance from Grave Encounters. And he's getting fucked with
yeah,
again.
yeah.
But as Officer Bryce, yeah.
Yeah, so to preface this movie is done by Brandon Christensen, and he has brought to us so many incredible movies like Z, Superhost, and most recently one of my favorites of 2025, which was Night of the Reaper. So I was absolutely excited when I saw the trailer for this, and Kylie is correct. The minute this movie starts, it pumps, it immediately takes its foot off the
Straight
brake
on
and
your
just,
neck. Straight on your
yeah,
neck and doesn't let up.
no, it is absolutely insane. So it's about two police officers who investigate a domestic dispute. Um, a bunch of wild things happen, and there is a shooting that occurs. They don't want to be crucified by the public because this is all shot on their body cam, or like on their car cam at certain points in time. And so they attempt to cover it up only to realize that not only are they trying to cover this up, but there is a lot of things to play in the environment around them. And it just devolves into horrific, incredulous ways of just every single time I thought we were done, there was a
We were not.
whole other, yeah, I was grossly misunderprepared for this movie. It was completely here for the whole entire experience. Like, this was just everything. If you are a fan of found footage, or even if you're not a fan of found footage, this is an incredible movie. I am going to go ahead and put a light spoiler alert because we're not going to talk about a ton of things in this movie because we want you to watch it. So this movie hits Shudder on March 13th. Um, so if you're here watching it after March 13th, come back and let us know what you thought about it and your thoughts. But this is just an incredible ride. I will tell you, as somebody who has a legal studies degree and in my undergrad program has worked on with different people and has seen body cam footage. The way that they mimicked body cam footage and the way that they did a lot of things in this movie were very on point, and
Yep.
I just found it incredibly refreshing.
Well, and
This,
I will say this. I think some people may not like that. I love it. I enjoy it. People say like they like found footage movies, but when you get a found footage movie that looks extremely realistic like this, because it does, it looks exactly like body cam footage. I mean to kind of watch a lot of stuff like on YouTube of like body cam footage of just
mhm.
I don't know. I guess we have issues. But it's very, very accurate. And while some people probably may not like that about this, because but like it's a found footage movie and I don't know what to tell you.
They just use it, they use the purpose of that so well, but then they also use it in certain elements where, like, the different the entity in this movie comes to play and the whole issues around it, and like it cutting out, it distorting, it fracturing things. It is a plot device in itself, and I really enjoy that. I think that that was done so well. The tension building was another thing, because this starts out in such a just foot to the gas way of, you get into the whole situation with the dispute, the incident occurs, and they're talking about, and I think just the way that they play the two characters against each other's nature is great. The way that they use so many organic natural things, and like towards the end, using your mind against yourself. So you're seeing one thing from one person's perspective, and then you're seeing the other thing, like the reality of it, from the other person's perspective. And I think those were great things that were well done. It showed the fracturing in reality, and just the terrifying bits of it. Like this movie uses a lot of, like, when they start the movie, they're going into the neighborhood. They say this is a rundown area. There's a lot of homelessness, and homeless population. And a lot of that gets used, and you see like the different elements with it, and like how they use that in such a great way, where it's like, are they truly homeless, or are they taken over by something else? And it's that kind of going through a different fracture of reality that I really
I enjoyed that because I feel like it gave while the homeless people were kind of like the villains, they were possessed, but I feel like it gave them a certain sort of power
Mhm.
that it was just refreshing to see because I think people's ideas of homeless people, it's just not very black and white like a lot of people
No.
think. There's a lot of gray, and I think there sometimes a homeless person in movies can be used in a certain way that is exploitive and just not the nicest. So, like, it's kind of one of those that, like, they were doing bad stuff, but, like, I just like the power that it kinda gave them, and I just thought it was, just kinda refreshing rather than it
Ye
just being like a homeless person that is like a drunk or a drug addict and they're running amok in abandoned you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
because I think what something too that takes stage is when Sean really loses his mind in this movie, it brings it back to the argument. Is this a good cop in a bad situation? Or is this somebody who has deeper, darker parts to them that are only getting exposed because of this? And this is a perspective that we see,
All the
from one
time.
all the time. But in the dynamic of, you have this duo that is working together, and Sean, he has a pregnant wife, um that he's on the phone with. He's very motivated by getting back to her in this movie. And it kind of brings up a really good argument of, are the means justify the end, and or the end justifies the means. Sorry. Um Cass needs to know her metaphors. But uh it basically is one of those arguments. It was really powerful because, Sean is on this one side where he's just trying to get home to his wife. He feels this
You
incredible
mean
pressure.
Officer Bryce. Officer
Yeah,
Bryce.
Officer Bryce. Um, Officer Bryce's character in this, he's trying to get home to his wife. Officer Jackson grew up not far from this area,
Yeah.
and his mom is the one that is dealing with this situation. She is trying to kind of essentially rehab some of these people who have been taken over by this situation. And then you see, like, the the character of the hacker and how she gets brought into this, and it's like the
Bro,
officer.
my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, there's a
On
scene
the
with her that's
floor.
incredible, but Officer Bryce like talks about owning her and like
Yeah.
how he let her get. We get the sense that he let her get off on something, and
Yeah.
there's just this juxtaposition and definitely just this like conversation about like I know a lot of the movie Officer Jackson is struggling with, did Officer Bryce get caught off guard? Or was it just who he is? And is this the cop gone bad? And it's a lot of playing those factors off of each other. And then you go outside of that, and then there is this entity, this he, that once he gets a hold of you, he has his hooks in you. And we start seeing that devolve more as the time goes on. So just the way in the levels of depravity that this movie just descends straight into hell with is absolutely insane. It is.
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I enjoyed seeing Officer Bryce, Sean Rogerson's character, just getting fucked with again in insane capacities, like in Grave Encounters. Like, I just remember I just kept looking at the TV like, what? I know him. I know him. I know him. And I looked up on the IMDb. I'm like, that is Lance. That is Lance from Grave Encounters, y'all. That is him.
It's crazy because the woman in the beginning that like the woman from the domestic dispute, she's played by Keegan Connor Tracy, which a lot of people will remember from Final Destination. But she has been in a lot of just.
She was in Z.
Yeah, she was too. And she was also in Night of the Reaper. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so I just really liked how all of this, and this is a tight film. This film is got a shorter running time. I think it's about 100
Hour and 13 minutes, I think.
yeah.
It's a quick one.
But you never felt like there were pockets of like just filler. It was all coming back to the bigger picture. And I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done. And I just appreciated the way that they kind of just naturally used an organic environment, which a lot of these environments are rundown houses in this community.
Yeah, and I mean, it's real life horror.
Yeah,
it's real life horror.
It just adds to it, and there's just this element, and especially the one main part of this crux of the situation, which is basically the house that this all starts in. Like there is a hole that's in the house that has like writing above it. The writing changes, but like it is just a very like.
So, I ain't even gonna lie. That basement reminded me of the one at the Abaddon Hotel.
It did. It did. And I think that that's really like, that's a good point. But it's just, it does the same thing where it's kind of this like something that you might see in everyday life, a rundown house, but it's the horrors behind the walls that's the scariest. And I think this just did such a good job. I absolutely enjoyed it. I absolutely 100% with every fiber of my being think Brandon Christensen, if you're listening to this, keep making movies. Like you clearly like you know what you're doing. Like this reminded me too of VHS, the police segment in VHS. This reminded me a lot of this, but in such an expanded and elevated way that I just truly appreciated it.
Yeah, like as like, you know, found footage is my bread and butter. That is my
Mhm.
genre. That is my thing. I really appreciate just how like it stepped on your neck and did not let up. And I
Mm-mm.
think sometimes you know, in found footage films, like it can be kind of drawn out unnecessarily. Not always necessarily the case, but I do think for like some, and I think that kind of stuff turns people off from this subgenre. This was it was just done in such a like it was just perfect. And I also think if you were to go into the movie theater, like say for like a surprise, you know, movie, okay, and you had not seen anything on this, you would have the paranormal activity effect.
You would.
What did I just watch? Was this real or was this fake? And I think when you can achieve that in a found footage film, at least for me, maybe not everybody else, because I mean, people are very picky, especially in that subgenre that are, you know, fans. I see them in the Facebook groups all the time, and they just, I don't know, I don't know. But
Yeah.
for me, when you can achieve that level, to me, it's a good found footage movie.
Yeah, I absolutely think that this just does such a good job at this is the 2026 like paranormal activity. Like this is something that feels so rooted in for because we have like the rise of true crime podcast and of like digging deeper into crime and it being so publicized on TV. And we do have a lot of like YouTube channels and different things that show the body cam footage. More recently, I know the one that sticks out to me was the Chris Watts documentary that had a lot of the body cam footage from that. But this is something that is so deeply rooted in the time period now that it does have that effect. And I agree with you. If you can achieve that and achieve that almost like just absolutely taking your breath away because you don't know what to expect, that is the true hallmark of not only a good horror movie, but a great found footage movie. So I really believe that this achieved that. And it really just makes me excited for Shudder because I feel like for a long time, Shudder was kind of getting hit by like, oh, these movies are kind of like they had a lot of bangers and then oh, we would get some, but like all the movies I've seen, and especially from this particular director, they have been absolute bangers. And I just think that this is what the purpose of Shudder is meant to be. And this is the purpose of what horror is. And
Mhm.
I really just love the fact that you get going from a movie like Z and Superhost to then Night of the Reaper to then this is a great catalog of just like showing that you can do so much. So I will absolutely be tuning into whatever you throw next at us, Brandon. Um,
Yep.
but I would definitely recommend anybody who is watching this to head to Shudder on March 13th and watch this because you will not regret it. And I will tell you that this is probably going to be a very big contender for movie of the year. Like so far, I mean, it's just it is going to be a hard one to beat. So, Kylie, since you are the queen of found footage, I'm going to start with you. If you give this a rating, what rating would you give it?
I'm gonna say 9 out of 10.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I
9 out of 10.
think the only
I want more. I want a
mm,
prequel. I want like because there's more to this story.
yeah, I think the only thing that got it for me for not being a 10 out of 10, and that's very hard to do with Horrorcraft Reviews, is a 10 out of 10. The only thing is, I wish there would have been a little bit more of a runtime, just a little bit more. But that's where I also feel like I would love to see a follow up to this as well, and see it maybe even through another lens. Um, I think that would be really great. So please go ahead to Shudder and watch this on March 13th. Thank you to Brigade Marketing and Shudder for letting us have an early screener of this.
Yes, thank you very much.
We absolutely appreciate you, and thank you for Shudder for making horror accessible
Yeah.
in such a way, because truly, like Kylie and I both, we, with being moms, having kids, it is hard a lot of times to get in the movie theater. It's worthwhile when we do, but having the accessibility that Shudder has brought to the horror market is absolutely wonderful. So, thank you again for letting us see this. And guys, please go watch this. This was an incredible
Yep.
movie. Definitely would recommend. And if you do watch it, come back and let us know what you thought of it. So, until next time, it's me, Cass, and
Kylie.
this was Horrorcraft Reviews. And stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.